I've got a question for you. Why do you even play games? Is it for the thrill of action? Or is it for the stories and experiences? Or is it for an instant gratification from a perfect headshot? Or is it just to relax and spend some time building something? Whatever your reason might be, this one game will suck up your time like a sponge. Because this game seemingly never ends and it never tones down. And today we're gonna talk about, very aptly named, Satisfactory. So what is Satisfactory and is it worth it to purchase? In short, Satisfactory is a factory building game, genre that was around for a while and was popularized by games like Factorio. The premise of such games is very simple. Start from nothing and through exploitation of the natural resources, mine resources, transform them into goods in order to transform them into even more complex goods, find more efficient ways to do that, build more elaborate and more efficient production lines, and etc. for a certain goal. To give you a very short summary, Satisfactory is exactly that game. You play as an astronaut landing on an unknown alien planet where you play in a first-person perspective, and your goal is basically to build a base and mine different resources and build different products to send to a space station of a certain company. With each tier of development in the game, the goods are becoming more complex and more difficult to build. With each tier of the game, the goods and products are becoming more complex, required more elaborate production lines, and becoming more time-consuming. But put on paper, it sounds pretty boring. So basically, you need to mine resources in order to craft goods, in order to send it somewhere, then in order to craft goods better and faster. Wasn't this exactly the same reason why I bashed No Man's Sky for? But this time, it's actually different. This time, the game is actually built around this premise, and boy, it actually shows that this was the first thing in mind of developers. But let's back up a bit and explain how it feels like to launch the game and play it for the first few hours. You start a new game with a choice of a starting location. You have a few different biomes and environments to start with. Seemingly at the first glance, you might think that this is actually procedurally generated worlds and they are completely separate from each other, but in reality, it's not. The entire world is pre-built and all you choose is basically where you will start in this world. And because world is pre-made, it's made with a lot of things in mind. And because of this, world is very diverse and very interesting to play in and very interesting to explore. With elaborate and different biomes, with mountain ranges, different types of forests, deserts, green hills, a bunch of different caves, canyons, and things like that. The world is pretty diverse. So you choose a location and you land on a planet. And now you have to complete your first tasks. And yes, game is actually telling you what you need to complete and provides it in a way that it's pretty easy to complete pretty fast, at least in the beginning. You find your first resources to mine, build your first production lines, build your hub, and basically send the end products towards the space station. And with this, you unlock new products and new resources. After some time, when you progress through the game, you will unlock Space Elevator as well. It is a giant structure that sends different goods directly into the space station without any spaceships. The space station requires more elaborate goods that you cannot build right away. And when you will be able to fulfill Space Elevator requirements, it will unlock even more different products, more different building elements, more different resources, and more different buildings. And this is not just the mining resources, it's a bunch of different things like the research buildings. You can even build the transportation and even automate this transportation. Like to record a certain path where a car will basically transport goods from A point to the B point and do it all the time. And as you go, you will build more elaborate transportation systems in order for you to get through the different points because you need to be interacting with a lot of things. And as you progress, game actually unlocks different abilities and the things to do that does not feel very rushed and it does not feel very complex. It feels very natural. You are just progressing and unlocking more and more and more things through different researches, buildings, etc., transforming things into more and more complex things, and eventually you are gonna reach an end goal. And yes, game actually has an end goal, basically the highest tiers of production, but in order to get there, it will take you a lot of time. I mean, a lot of time. And in one playthrough, it might take you hundreds of hours to get there. But why do I enjoy this game? Because of one very simple thing. Because this game does not have an end game, or it does not have a mid game. But why? Well, you see, because of games' incredible pacing and providing you with the technologies and buildings on a very, very good paced way, you won't feel even for a single second that game is becoming incredibly difficult. It is becoming complex, but you are becoming better at it as well. Plus, you don't have a chance to lose the game. You just continue creating more and more complex structures, or if something will go wrong, you will just increase and change in efficiency of the things. And that's it. I've been playing this playthrough for 20 hours now, and I'm just reaching the middle tiers of the game. And I can simply say that I cannot stop playing the game. I have other things to do, I have other games to play, but I keep returning to this game. The sheer complexity and ability to do more and more elaborate structures in this game is simply unbeatable. And what I create compared to what other people create is simply nothing. People are creating entire cities or even multiple cities with incredibly elaborate production lines that I didn't even think was possible for a single human to do. And they are simply stunning. And you know what's the best and weirdest thing about that? The game is still in early access. And trust me, if I didn't tell you that, you would not feel it, because the game runs incredibly smoothly and feels like a complete experience. It even has a working multiplayer. Being in early access means that game is actually not finished and end game is expanding even more, and developers are adding more and more tiers and expanding existing tiers with more and more production lines, more products, more buildings, and more research options. So that basically means even before you reach an end tier, the developers might update the game and add more things. And now you can just continue playing it. There's one thing about this game I didn't talk about, and it is an action part of the game. Yes, the game has a combat, but unlike Factorio, where combat is a core part of the game where you need to protect your base against an alien invasions, here it's more like fighting against a few wild creatures. As you go and explore the world around you, you're gonna see a few wild animals. And the weirdest thing is that when you destroy these animals won't respawn. They're dead forever. And you have weapons to fight those, but they are usually pretty rudimentary and there's nothing very complex in it. But at least you have it if you want it. Overall, would I recommend it to you to buy Satisfactory, and whether it's worth it for you or not? If you ever played any factory building game in the past few years, then 100%. This game is absolutely worth it. You're gonna enjoy every second of it. If you liked any factory building game in the past, you just cannot go wrong with it. And if you like more or less relaxing experiences and you want to enjoy a single game for a really long time without ever being rushed to do anything, and when you're a kid, or even right now, if you ever enjoyed building Legos or doing any other construction things, you're gonna absolutely enjoy this game. And this game is absolutely worth it for you. The game is available on Steam for $29.99 for the US users and I think it's $14.99 for the tier 2 countries. And there are sales pretty often there where the price drops to around $24 for tier 1 countries and $12 for the tier 2 countries. And me being a cheap gamer who thinks that usually games should not cost more than $20, or at least where you should never pay for the game for more than $20, this is a very rare exception. This game is absolutely worth it for even a full price, no matter who you are. Because the sheer amount of time that you're gonna spend and burn in this game is simply stunning. And if you buy the games for the $1 1 hour thing, I'm absolutely sure that you're gonna spend more than 30 hours in this game, because 30 hours will not be enough to get even close to the end tiers. And overall, yes, I absolutely recommend this game because this game is absolute gem and I enjoy every second of it. And I'm pretty sure you will do too. To be fair, I never even heard somebody telling bad things about this game. And yeah, just reassuring you. Overall, just go get this game because I cannot stop playing it and you won't as well. Oh yeah, don't forget to hit the like button down there, subscribe right here because we're gonna have a bunch of new videos in the near future, and watch the video right there as well, because I'm pretty sure that's made exactly for you. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Take care.